expediency.
Yeah.
But the real commitment as a link to the word, and I who say you deliver on the mandate. The promises we made to the people, no, yes, because I'm a president Akuffo Addo Koka say doom so no apa hona or mama 1 week in the pahona. Mr. We are president, you should be speaking to something substantial. Fact, I are incontrovertible fact. We are very sure. What proof, what verifier who said, I said we saying that he and son of president would have a two gap. Because the words of a president, especially an executive one, I can't just say we do. So you can't just be saying things and then people, but that is his trademark. And in the last 7 years, so what should the way a manner things are play out in this country are clearly a choice say he's not a man of his words. As I protect the public person, the public person family and friends, government, and look at where we are today. Haircut in President made a televised national address and gave assurance to Ghana for Matter Treasure Bill say, sir, haircut no propaganda being spent by my opponent, my detractors. So forget about it. Haircut be 1 month after in your haircut to Okroma say. My Bank of Ghana, yet is come there. I know where the money is. Maybe I'm Dr. Ren. Look at your friends the exponential jump in your friends public debt and look at the public expenditure. So you see, there is nothing our can we will be as a be muda have funny serious because some now can you could see as a or can not okay. But the reality always point to the other side. And family and friends, ya baby drew a baby. Shapanya ya first was SSNIT. Your friend say hotels, ya first a body don't come media,
when you call it the young co preco, a yes, SSNIT, a year don't come here, don't me to see. Were you surprised? And as Sebu Usu says, send your working, and a family and friends, and a bonny don't come in here, Ghana for Japadi. And I mean, Niasa Saniako, your take on a year a friend is saying SSNIT, almost more hotels a day 60% the a year minister for a year agric Bryan Acheampong. Your take on it?
Yeah, Dr. Ren, I'm not surprised. Surprised, but you see, sometimes the fullest fashion with which these people operate, and then surprising me. The manner are more pretty, because family and friends have to set it up and was from the beginning. And then more yellow chrome head and idea dance say, Papa no basse or the Bokaya man improve for an opportunity you have quanya or Timukwaji shop, our airport. At the man, Baba, duty free shop. Ordinary, no reasonable leader on his right senses. And in an environment I am very toxic like this, obey yet, but he didn't care. And did the shop oko airport neba at home free. And they bet me at Tanaka can send Bebrea. Just a nina, I link it to this family and friends. But you see, in the last 7 years, so we dimbonia among for about Akuffo Addo not buying in crew for a woman, if nothing at all, no, Dr. Ren. Common sense, I get enough incentive to provoke you to the realization say, are they way in as much as you're right, in as much as procedurally, Bryan Acheampong, I'll go through proper procedure, proper channel, proper valuation, everything. It's kind of proper, no. You should be sensible enough to know, say, considering the toxic political environment, what creating in the past, there is nothing that you can say ever compensate the average and the ordinary Ghanaian say this deal is a proper deal. That should be the start. So common sense alone. Again, in governance, we have morals and ethics, values, certain principles via coming with that. Sometimes conflict of interest. I don't know can be which are buying not fat abaya japadia tomamawa. I'm told say in the past, but that doesn't make it right today.
Yes.
It is obedient in the past, not say of our crime is what. Yes, a crime, expiry date in this all. So if we say the the same consequence ways of fire, we can pursue them and bring them to justice.
Yeah.
So no cannot stop us from commenting on what is happening presently. Because I believe that the present must always forge just a positive path. You be see be from your mistake, not positive. Go way forward, am I something proper? But we can't be repeating mistakes in the past. Bryan Acheampong, a minister of state, he's part of this government. In some Abrante we are no kujina the way I say or no power no hand over more because they know what they have done. Dr. Ren and Senate Sikana. Yade yes anema we no Senate ni sika o Senate sika na ye Ghana adwuma ye fo teacher ni a o kira de wa kura se teacher omo sika ye tetetete omo e na ye de ama Senate say sika no fire investment se be ya mfa so be ba so na se obi retire na se o kofia wetime nya bibi de ama no. That is the whole way a former Senate I see hono sanity. So everything that's Senate that's biano a Ghana fusika. Enti so also wo turn Senate japadia. There must be a proper reason, proper consultation, due diligence and so forth in the first place. So what kind of statement as Senate Jaba wanted to say nyansa bia numa sabi a afterthought we one. Almost say some of these entities no and make it profit. Dr. Ren, the entity like mo radio stationing say mo owner tenasia who say a radio station no make it your friend is saying profit now or person or your who be. Yes, as a private person he has the option to sell or whatever. But adia wajapadia why what you say person no. You first look at the management, how to if inject efficiency. It means that people who are managing the place are not managing it properly. So you look at other ways of injecting a certain sense of efficiency into the operations of these hotels. But the very moment Abaka said, just a Thomas one, say you have considered, say you have no technical knowledge in running that particular thing. No? And I won't count them say SSNIT in the capital by injected in as a forum. And then there are several ways that you can go into strategic partnership with the amount for and the businesses one person cannot own, an entity cannot own a business. But Dr. Ren, to go to the extent of saying say we need a strategic investor, and that strategic investor must take 60% stake. And in any corporate way, whoever owns more than 50%, is an automatic owner of that company. So I didn't know SSNIT I lose that hotel you cannot say that hotel is SSNIT there. So it is no longer you looking for a strategic investor to come and invest in your hotel, because if you sell 60% stake, it is no longer your property. Meaning so get a point in American say.
Yeah, me get it because
can you letter now? Almost a more strategic investor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna investing. Say ubie do no money pan be take 60% stake and then you become an investor. SSNIT then becomes an investor in Bryan Acheampong's company.
Yeah, it should be the percentage wise, it should be the other way around. SSNIT to have more shares than a year the strategic a year investor. And you see this thing a year can want some it and shall see free now. As free for time with Jake Obechebilamte.
Yes.
You see, Bryan Acheampong, the Ghana phone name say he was aid to a year Jake Obechebilamte. A year Jake and a kofa Bryan Ebaye. Now you see, there is a problem between Bryan Acheampong and Kennedy Akuffo Japan. I won't go into much details because of a year relationship with a young Kofu. Now you see, I can say it on emphatically say, Bryan, any a year Kennedy Ntokweni was because of at the time, Jake powers be a winya sikebia winya ye, and you maybe I will be nya for time, and Bryan was somebody I knew him all Jake in businesses. And to Bryan, and who Bryan, who see hotels be most of it, I shall say because of Jake Obechebilamte. And Jake is not alive. It maybe a woo, maybe a Bryan is pushing the agenda of Jake Obechebilamte. And what they yen in Yoma, or they yen Sika, or they yen Yoma. But when it comes to a yes, our business is here, hotels here, Ghana, a deliberate and what mine or mancha down for Sika ansha hotels here, a king, a year La Palm, a year Royal Resort, Labadi Beach Hotel, a year a friend is a Limina, a year a beach resort. strategically yɛma yɛmfa sika nkɔ nkɔhyɛm yɛma no ngu na egu a yɛankasa yɛntɔ yɛtɔ a yɛnyɛ ne yie na yɛmbɛyɛ yɛankasa yɛ personal belonging so that we can use it to control ɛno ɛne wɔn ɛyɛ yɛnto aso.
Yeah, Dr. Ranti, so what's your narrative no way now about saying that clearly? And yes, SSNIT here sika for capital injection or whatever. A deliberate scheme. These people go already know. Or when they can't Ghana hotels like a CI Wokroma, Golden Tulupunina, other big hotels are in the name of Ghana. No, these people have sold those hotels. And so that will give you a prelude, a certain idea why they are doing what these things that they are doing. And again, Okachira was said, so what kind SSNIT release another Bible and say now. Or say they started putting it out in 2018. Everyone call it say strategic investors in as a form of first camera and as a for so by 2019 in as a form of shortlisted Bibia Anya Nipa or submitted bid in as a form. Ain't it Dr. Raza or company? SSNIT that has been in existence for several years. Say today, only technical expertise to manage the hotel a bit more efficient. Then he goes for Rock City, which started operating just about 2 or 3 years ago. Because Abra, your friend says SSNIT, open, sa tender na, or say, Bryan Acheampong and Akuffo year. Now Rock City, and Sasia operating because Oko website, date of operation, everything is there. That is why you know, some more canon. Just and try yesterday, ye design just to say, you may paint the situation, you know, to look good. Because so also a strategic investor, somebody very efficient, or because I want the track record by the person should have considerable your friend is saying expertise and experience when it comes to say one managing hotel, then as a format. The Rock City in question, and I use you as an entity to acquire SSNIT hotels, you know. That entity started operation few years ago. Even Abra European sales no crano, not this Rock City was not in operation. So there's question you'll be asking yourself, say a hotel that was in operation that started operating few years ago, no, a heifer because it is an entity that is acquiring. Nisika Sem that Ben generated such huge sums of money now, at Sika to the extent that or acquire this particular stake in the SSNIT hotel. And now a investor being a Dinisika Babeshim, and now where is that particular money coming from? Because this is a state asset. Over there, why there must be transparency. Chelsea there, or Moton Chelsea, Abra, we call to Bolio, wherever Chelsea, no. The financial transparency, need due diligence, where those monies are coming from, where you apply those monies, that's the phone, has to be on the table for people to know, say, Sikana, whatever, and a genuine, a legitimate, why you're doing over the years, and you are partnering this person, and whatever, and see at the mamma, you will safer hands. When it comes to expertise, in a way, Bryan Acheampong Rock City, no, hotels no moves in the Cromunian. And this all kind experience, technical expertise in as a man. On what basis? And I would just so about hotel. One over about 10 years, I would manage hotels and also we need experience, we need expertise, we need technical knowledge. But Rock City now not buying into operation few years ago, no, or no more the technical expertise or the financial might everything to come and apart. Again, Bryan Acheampong is part of this government. And then American actors actors in the value system, actors in morality in governance. But you know, say once you are part of the government, you know, when you go for some of these things, the conflict of interest at whichever way you look at it, you know, will occasion. So, as a smart person and as somebody who has been in government that has gained your friends notoriety for state capture. Say take state asset and as a form. No common sense is enough incentive to provoke you to the realization that okay, yes, you'll be at the rough side of Ghanaians. But because they have an agenda, because they thrive with impunity, because they think they are in power today, no, they are doing all that they could with a total disregard to values, law, whatever. And what they babaji are their way. And winning Nipana on negotiate. Sa hotel sales ya se fo nya ye ko nyina ye osafoma fo ba no On an oil in
Unim
cash.
say Oshe Ejapade document ni mwa oh. Mamenka eye no kre na ewo the sale ni name no. Ora Dr. John Ofori Tinkrai. And a pebia was sorry, people went to his home and offered him 20 million US dollars. So onje na womboa for the sale of a year hotels here ye bobosu. And will refuse to ye and will afraid the president to say this is the pressure eba. Onim hu bia na afraid President Akuffo. You see, bear in mind, say President Akuffo nana down for pa any Jake Obechebilamte. Pa. Bryan Acheampong said American was aid to Jake Obechebilamte. Ukoshe Ejapade document ni mwa. The plan was to sack a year this John Ofori Tinkran because na on Friday womo yeneso. And they introduce you a Osafuma for Banubai. Until the bringing in Osafuma for Banubai no to come and accomplish the job. Ono oba ne juma no onzo man penye Akuffo Addo mo wadwuma. Enya de Ghana fo nim se wo ba ye no na be you. Osama very good. Osama will job portfolio no about different kona koye say famame. Until the ye hunu ye hunu nyina because of a year the ye share a year Osafuma for Badensa. So wombra no wombe ye edinti ya appointed no on the 15th of April 2024. It did the oba be ni say ye beton hotels. You see,
yes.
That is it. That Ghana Kronwa. Omo share with a year energy and omo banking sector and then omo insurance sector and a year hospitality hotels omo baso to aso.
Yeah, Dr. Ren. So in some way, can should give you a picture school description. Say these guys don't care with a particular agenda to capture this particular state. By the time they go home, there will be nothing left in the name of this country. Ghana very proud of, but rather no, everything will be owned to them. And you see, they have a president who is so corrupt to the core. Say he doesn't give a damn about what is happening because we are president now with a certain sense of integrity. Certain principle value system be at least some of these things, you don't even allow them to fester in the first place. You can even with a phone call, you can just shoot this particular down and tell him, say, no, you going for this particular transaction will seek to paint a very terrible picture about my government. We go back and say, politics, it's not about perception. You can't do politics without perception. Because perception is very, very key. And into corruption, I can't corruption perception index because but how people perceive the extent of corruption in a particular government, inform their thought, inform their political choices, inform the way a manner they go around things. So perception in politics is very, very key. That was what the last time I was telling you, say, oh, sorry, damn, the toast say, one suffer ye pimpana, so one suffer bad pimpana. Now I come menu to a bit make us oh, media yankopon ni makumum. But in politics, there is nothing like media yankopon because the kind of impression you create out there is going to become basis upon which people are going to use to judge you. So you don't allow that particular thing to. But president adapt or abdicating responsibility, or fat responsibility as president, and what thrown into the dustbin, were thrown away. So he's just being president without responsibility. And people around him who feel safe, they feel entitled to say, oh, come on, Charlie, this is an open gate. Let us do whatever that. And the way about they are thriving with impunity. Because some of these things, we don't even need to walk into technicalities and those things. Common sense will tell you, say, Charlie, we need another way to me. We need Ghana for back.
Now, unim say na nache woka no. Unim say SSNIT almost spending $491,000 US on a consultant to advise it on selling 60% of its stake in 3 hotels. One of the hotels is valued at $600,000 US. Now come on. Ye koto hotel baako bo eye 600,000 no. Ye see consultant no. No be my advice e beto ana ye no.
Yes.
You could no $491,000 US.
Yes. And consultants, obed the gear no, na your more munipa and no. And you see, as I'm okay, what kind of trust say to her people might say, oh, Dr. Ren, we are talking about a SSNIT, an entity that is on its knees financially, an entity that is struggling to survive and asset kura no on to me hold on.
Pensioner for sika, pensioners for
Yes.
sika, Ghana for
Yes.
pensioners sika, Ghana for
Yes.
Numa for sika.
Yes, an entity that is struggling to survive, you know, to me over $400,000. They pay consultants and then as for to do due diligence. Now you can't say no as to whether say a right to sell 60% of his stake to an individual or not. You see, and I'm catch say this whole thing, no, is some kind of a syndicate, a certain criminal cartel beer, or more taking over this country, and if nobody can stop them. Because the media, they have a larger part of the media on their side. Go to other traditional platforms. There are journalists in this country who sit on these platforms and they defend Bryan Acheampong or Nisika. You see, Nipa Nimyansa. They don't know what you call values, ethics,
Franklin Kujo
etiquette.
said, Mamemboa. Franklin Kujo, madam for president, was say, oh, na say, doc, I mean, come on, we should allow him to buy it, or a gun any.
On your serious. You see, these characters, I don't know where they take their inspiration from. Because nipa na ye kana sem no, aye nipa or ye part and parcel of this administration. State assets na ye kan, and ye state asset ketwa. Sisi am no te hey, baby a Bryan Acheampong nya ni sika kura free. Nobody has been able to prove say hano nya ni sika free. Rock City na osi no. Mon take auditors enko na ye nko ye baby a sika ni free ba. Investors in for no more year Juma and how a minister of state and a country and as for Numa or ya. What may put to that particular thing or honor? Menka say where we are, but that must be a subject of your friends' inquiry. We need to distill doubt on the minds of people. Now you're very certain. Again, now MP now, so we are parliamentarian. Oh yes, so we are sure pastor win to me. Only profits, your friends oriented businesses and those kind of stuff. So if the person or your majority shareholder, now or your owner in this particular stake, is he going to do private business as a member of parliament to make money? Is that the case?
Also, I know the Yentianica or make sika. He just a friend is saying a CEO. I want Jeffrey. One of the any say vision now one or the ma womo. Yentianica.
Oh yeah, we see your politics in Nayapo, and that is why you see all these comic characters and jokers. I want to invade the arena, and they are just taking the people for granted. Because I'm not the day. Who is speaking for the people? Who is standing in for the pensioners? Dr. Ren, go and look at the amount of money Senate paid to teachers in for when they go to your friend saying retirement. And go and look at the fat salary your friend saying the same SSNIT omode etia amamfo ka consultant ne na se for no akwantuo ne whole lot of stuff. Go and look at the many foolish investment as SSNIT at the Ghana for sika ye ani nyina na SSNIT recently yes you want it.
Yes.
Because they've been engaging in consistent your friends say needless investment ayede amamfo sika because sika na nyane de sika ne ya amamfo pension ayete de ba no ombre onya hwe their job is to manage it. So they can just decide to do whatever with it. I know they are here. Nobody's holding anybody accountable. And it's the motivation for them. Am I a neck? Senator Jaffa, yes, Senate hotels, and then I said, for Yaka 6 above Bryan Acheampong and Akuffo. Who's that? Yeah, the 6 in the man. Opa Tremo, who's a mumienu, or Casa or Ya Onyam Faso, or Hano Yimiru free, or say 4 on pay. And these 4 are the biggest of among these hotels. Our free show manager, Obenya Nisika. So, me or your Ghana ni fine, but that is not the argument. The argument is we can't continue on this particular line where government officials take advantage of the fact say me a part of the government, now your finance accounts, so your cookie deal, now the amount of basa because sa price by evaluation and as a form of money to sa money in answer no crown. You can't even believe it. Because this whole thing is an agenda. That is why in instances like this, as a Ghana for you're coming together. You're forgetting about your political party. Now who say it is the future of this country that is on the line. And are we going to sit down? Are we going to shut up? Are we going to keep quiet and watch these criminals? This syndicate, a cartel of criminals, but take this particular country, I sell everything to themselves. No corner. What will be the state of this country? Because president now will see no see or see what to say this one. He doesn't care about what is happening. Because after all, other president are not party, and he's aiding and abetting these criminals to unleash their destructive best on this country. And at the end of the day, he doesn't care. That is why in the face of all these atrocities emanating from the ministers and appointees, whoever, he remains quiet. Because in some your man, your responsible leader, not president, be a sabi, or you're responsible, not admin papa, or the team, some of these things with just a phone call, you torpedo it, but not Akuffo. Because as long as these things serve his interest and the interest of his few chronic guys around him, that is okay. And he has demonstrated it in the past. Now you're saying a PDS, you're quite unfair some PDS. What the president comment to a home? Who said he's not even aware. Yet say Mahama Akuffo, a sister, a Juma de Bragana for the fire power sector. Ejiji Yesika. And I'm so Sika compact we are as America for the my over $90 million and over. Yansan Kasa Sika be seen there. Sika no kwa later na ebano na US government emfa say yansamo obakwa yesi power station ha o na no mihu ba ko yesi ka so se hwan o makosi power station near the Sika to so on Sika no show because only the kind of people we are. And that is the level we have come to. So our practice says Senate in Semin, this will not even become a public debate. In 10 term now, the very person with the power to stop this nonsense, if he's really committed, Akuffo. But the question is he really? Because this is the guy who over the years has demonstrated clearly, said he himself, when it comes to some of these criminal activities now, he has been involved in a number of them. So the president cannot even be trusted. He's not clean. That is why he will keep quiet and overlook some of these criminal activities affecting this particular country. And I will not be surprised by the time they go, everything in the name of Ghana will be owned to them. Because that is the plan, that is the strategy. And I go into Tulip Hotel, and all the big hotels are Ghana. Because Senator Kashirame said, hotels in Nasefo because of mismanagement and they trust a private person. Dr. Ren, I think Ghana, I think different Akuffo private person manage you.
Oh, and no can come back because the way I hear Quadia, send a year private sector bina on Bama Fire, say Elon Musk, another Bill Gates, on the Ghana anymore.
Yes, because you are here, say, my private sector. It take care of it. I think there's the presidency and the governance of this country because Akuffo has demonstrated he's so